Hey guys, how's it going? Today I would like to give you a crop report. We're going to run around to all the areas where we have food crops planted just to show you how they're doing, how they're looking. We have several things that are ready to be harvested, which is my second goal, and that is to harvest enough raspberries to make a batch of raspberry jam and possibly to pull some onions, whichever ones are ready, out in the dirt lands. And then, I don't know, raspberry picking takes quite a long time, so I'm not sure how much we're going to get done. I'm trying to do this in the morning. It's going to be 100 degrees today, so I don't really want to be picking raspberries and pulling onions and possibly digging potatoes when it's that hot. But this is where I wanted to start because look at how beautiful this is in the morning. I just love it. This is the entrance to our raised bed garden. If I back up even further, we've got an instant karma elderberry with the most gorgeous berries. In fact, I haven't done a lot of pruning, obviously. I did pruning earlier this season, and then they started producing these berries, which I really should at least cut a couple of these branches off, but I just love seeing them dangling down. And the birds usually love to clean these up. And even though we grow this variety in black lace for more ornamental purposes, I do think the berries are edible. I don't know where they rate, like if you stack them up against the varieties that are typically grown, like Nova and York are the only two varieties I'm really familiar with. That's what we always sold down at the garden center when people wanted to plant elderberries to raise to harvest. But you can harvest the berries once they're all fully ripe, which these are not, and you can process them and use them for whatever it is that you use elderberries for. Anyway, let's take a look in here. There are some things I need to clean up a bit, but things are looking great. We've got some pole beans right here in the morning sun. Oh, looking beautiful. We've got our cantaloupe plants. Do you remember we planted these super duper late? These front two are honeydew, and then I've got a hill in the back that are Tuscany, which are the orange flesh melon, and they're just going to town. There's a lot of blooms on them, so hopefully we have enough time yet to get some fruit off of those. Before I get too far, we've got our blue wheat right here, which it's like splaying out. This is a really tall wheat. And honestly, not a whole lot of blue. I'm seeing a little bit more in these later stalks that are forming up. I wonder if I can see it more in the shade. Let's see. Yeah, there's a tinge of blue there. Definitely more than the first stalk that was produced. So anyway, I don't know what I'm gonna do with this stuff. I probably just need to come in here and maybe even gather these up before they dry down too much so that they're easier to manage and make some really pretty bundles. That would be nice. We've got our broccoli that we direct seeded late this season. We need to spray that again with BT. Having a bit more problem with those little green caterpillars at this point of the year than we did with our first crop, our spring crop, which we had zero damage on. Zero damage on the cabbage and the broccoli this spring. I don't know what the deal was, never sprayed it, not one time. It was the cleanest crop ever. We've got our Lysianthus and a rogue carrot. I don't stake a lot of things, so it just kind of, they take on a mind of their own. It's a pretty color. In this bed here, we've got some sugar snap peas coming up and some spinach. I'm going to reseed a little bit. It was very hot when I planted these things, so the germination's a little bit scant. We've got our Lilliput zinnias. Aren't those beautiful? Look at this, so like as you enter, such pretty color. I did pull the container that was in the center. It was looking really tired. And we've also got some stalk. This is the Quartet Rainbow, and I need to pull that and get ready for our next crop right in there. We've got a crop of carrots. We've got our tomatoes. Never staked those. They're just kind of going willy-nilly. We've got our herb garden right here that's just going nuts. Dill could probably be pulled at this point. We've got more pole beans right here, which I need to fix. It looks like a little water leak. And then over here we have some pepper plants, which I need to do some harvesting here too. So many peppers on these plants, oh my goodness. And look at these, they're gorgeous. So anyway, that's what's going on up here in the raised beds. Let's head back to the orchard next. That's an exciting space right now. We'll be back here in a few minutes. Okay, I guess strawberries first and then the orchard. Strawberry plants are looking amazing. They're kind of in a little bit of a lull, but they're forming up their next crop of berries. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 beds of seascapes, which are everbearing. So these 5 we've been harvesting pretty much all season. And then this one here and the back 2 are honeyways, which are June bearing. And look at the amount of growth on those. I came through and we cut suckers or runners off of them early this season on all of these, but look at the difference. Seascape growth versus the honeyway growth. It's nuts. But there's some good ones in here. That one's ready. The best. I just love that we can come out here and eat fruit picked straight off the plants because these haven't been touched by anything. No spray, not even overhead water. Yeah, see, they're kind of in a lull, but we've got blooms, we've got little berries forming up. You can find little ones here and there. Oh, and the occasional nice size one. I have harvested so many strawberries this year. I mean, and this is the first year for this project. We planted these all in, was it April when we planted these? It could have been the first part of May, but we put in these tall raised beds, planted these, and I just have been amazed. And this was one of the better decisions. You know, you do certain projects in the garden and think, oh, it's a little much. Like, you know, having these raised beds built to where you don't have to bend over at all for strawberry plants. I kind of wondered, like, well, is it really worth it? Should I just plant them out in the ground somewhere? It's 100% worth it. Absolutely. Will they ever pay for themselves? I don't know. Still worth it. And they're pretty. I think this whole space is so much better utilized than it was before. You know, we had, was it 3 or 4 galvanized tubs set alongside this fence line right here and nothing right here. We had blueberries in them, and blueberries are one of those things that I think I might throw in the towel on that. I have tried blueberries for years and years and years and years. I had a couple of successful years when we lived down at the townhouse. And after that, it's just been a struggle. We have such high pH soil and such high pH water, even if we have them in containers. We cannot keep the soil acidity up. And honestly, I just don't want a crop that's that fussy. They also need to be put in a protected spot so they don't get the full afternoon sun and all that business. So I think I've got a couple of blueberry plants I actually forgot to show you up in the raised bed garden. They're not looking awesome. They do have some fruit on them though. So we might just do a few plants here and there, but I don't know, I almost need to treat that plant as an annual. All right, so then we have our orchard. We just got done with a flower shed kind of glow up right here. It looks so pretty. I love it. Those containers are gorgeous. I love those so much. But right here, we have our Honeycrisp apple tree, and we did an experiment where we bagged the fruit this year. I got after it a little bit late. You're supposed to bag the apples when they are like a 1/2 inch. Everything I saw recommended like 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch at most, and these were over an inch. They were at least 1.5 inches maybe when we put the bags on them. So there's still worm damage. I would say that maybe we'll get half of what I bagged without any worm damage, which is not a big deal. I'll use all of the worm damage ones for applesauce because you can cut around that and just discard the wormy part and save the good part, and it makes beautiful applesauce or apple butter. But these are just forming up beautifully. Look at these. Look at how big these apples are. It might even be hard to get them out of the bag. They're getting so big. But if you look in here, like this one right here looks clean, at least what I can see. This one looks clean. This one though, see, we've got a little worm damage on that one, but I'm keeping the bags on them. We'll just cut that little piece off. These are so big that we'll still get a lot of usable apple. Let me see if I can pick one from up top that I did not bag. I couldn't bag some of these. Look at that. A little bit of damage. So we had a robin nesting in here this spring, and she had 3 or 4 babies. And it was all I could do to put the bags on the apples that actually got bags this spring. I left all of them alone that were right around her nest, and it freaked her out every time I came over here. So I tried to do like a little bit every day, just kind of leave her alone as much as I could. Anyway, I don't know. So like all of those beautiful apples up there, I wasn't able to bag or get near because her nest it was, you know, right there. See this one, one little wormhole right there. Earwig, yeah, not bad though. I really wish I would have got after the bagging early enough because I feel like I would have been able to give more of a fair report as to how it worked. But it was just one of those things I didn't get to. So now with the results I'm seeing, I'm thinking, well, maybe we'll try the clay spray next year. And even though it puts a powdery finish over the apples, it supposedly washes off very easily and it keeps the worms out. So that might be the route I take next year and just try that out because bagging apples actually takes quite a long time. I thought it was going to be really quick, but it takes a while. All right, now we have our flavor top nectarine tree, which has naturally taken on its own vase shape, which was not my intention. I didn't really want vase shaped trees. but honestly, it does make things easier to pick and prune. It's a lot more efficient for sure. I did not thin these until very, very late. So in previous years, I've had larger fruit, but they're beautiful fruit. Like this one's ripe right here. Look how gorgeous that is. Oh, they're so juicy. Honestly, nectarines are so, like my favorite. They're my favorite orchard tree, fruit tree out here. So much better than peaches because they don't have the furry skin on them. You can just come out here and eat them straight off the tree. The skin is tender. They're so sweet. They're so good. Hang on. I'm gonna finish this. Okay, we can carry on now. But look at how thick these are. My goodness. So I've been picking them. Not all of them are ripe yet. So I just come along and test for ripeness and have been picking baskets full. I'd bring them into the kitchen, put them on the counter, and we've just been eating a ton of them. Look at this. Isn't that beautiful? So many this year. It's like it's making up for last year where we got 0 fruit in this orchard because of a late frost. It froze everything off of every single tree for a lot of us in this whole valley, unless you had some kind of system in place to keep the frost off, some kind of cloth or Christmas lights, or some people have smoke or fans or whatever, sprinklers. Anyway, yeah, we didn't fare so well last year, but this year's crazy. Then we've got our Perfection apricot tree. I recommend this variety very much so. It's got a weird little bit of branches I need to take care of when we do our pruning, but boy, they're tasty. And they produce nice size apricots. Made the best apricot jam this year. All apricot jam's the best. I love it. Then we've got a Santa Rosa plum tree right here, which still has a few fruits on it. Look at that. They're so delicious. I really don't do a whole lot with plums other than fresh eating, so we've just been gathering up and eating them fresh. Then we've got a baby flavor top nectarine tree. We had a pear tree back here that had fire blight. Oh, look at that one. How beautiful. These have been sprayed with nothing, by the way. We did our winter spray of copper and the horticultural oil to, help with any kind of overwintering issues, but I haven't hit any of these with any kind of fruit tree spray whatsoever. So nothing, no spray on these fruits. Most of them are clean. But anyway, I had a pear tree back here and it had a fire blight and decided to put in another nectarine because we enjoy those so much. Oh, and then look at this tree. We've got an Alberta peach tree right here. Look at all of these beautiful peaches. Oh my goodness. They were not ripe yesterday. Ooh, that one might be. Look at how beautiful. Okay, I'm not going to eat every single fruit that I come across out here, but my word, is this ever a loaded tree or what? So excited about this. And then this tree right here, we're having a bit of a struggle with. This is a Snow Beauty white peach tree. That one is ripe right there. Look at how beautiful the fruit is. I'm getting myself a little collection here. See this little branch right there? It's not a little branch, it's kind of a bigger branch. So I might be doing some big time pruning on this one this year. This one also is kind of taking on a natural vase shape. See, I kind of like them shaped a little bit more rounded, like our Alberta right here. This one's gonna probably end up with that vase, more vase-ish shape, but like this branch isn't looking great, and neither is that one. And that's gonna make the tree so wonky. Is this one ready? Yes, gorgeous. Okay, I gotta show you the inside of this one. Look at that. That looks like an enormous bite I just took. So good. Oh, okay, then over there closer to the shed, we've got a Tilton apricot, which was a replacement for another Tilton apricot that we had out here that got canker. And I really enjoyed those Tiltons that first time we had them, but this year when this tree produced, they were really little. They were little and they were more mealy than the Perfection. And maybe it's because I didn't have a Perfection apricot at the time, so I didn't have something to compare it to. But Perfection's definitely better. If I could have 2 Perfection trees, I would. For cross-pollination, they have to have more than one. And we've got neighbors with an orchard just like right there. I'd probably get pollination, decent pollination, enough to have 2 Perfections in this orchard. But anyway, they were still apricots, they still had that nice apricot flavor, just the texture wasn't quite right. So I'm gonna give this another year, see what the fruit's like next year. If it still feels subpar to me, I might try a different variety. And then this is our Fuji apple tree, which I was able to bag a lot more apples in this tree than the other one because this one didn't have a nest in it. But you can see what these are looking like, a little smaller than our Honeycrisp, quite a bit smaller than our Honeycrisp. But overall looking pretty good. I do see one in a bag that's got some worm damage. But I wanna say at this point, the bulk of what I have left on this tree in bags don't have worm damage. Like they're mostly all pretty clean. Yeah, look at that, beautiful. This one. It'll be interesting to see what we end up with when we are ready to harvest, which won't be until probably the end of September-ish. Okay, so that's how everything's going in the orchard. We're gonna go to the flower shed after I pick up my fruit here and grab a few baskets and head to the berries. There we go. Gosh, I love those so much. Okay, so first off, the grapes, which we just took a look at yesterday. So I'll just show you real quick. We've got the white Niagaras right here that look beautiful. There are tons and tons of grapes on them. They are not ripe yet. I've been trying one every single day, and yesterday when I tried one, it was still pretty tart. But the smell in the air, if you've been around grapevines when they're starting to ripen, especially when it's hot outside, you just get that really wonderful, grapey, delicious smell in the air. There's some more right in here. Look at these. Look at those. And then the two on this side are the Suffolk Red table grapes. Let's see. I think we looked at these yesterday. This little area is the easiest to get to. Yeah, so these aren't quite ripe yet either, but they are really tasty. You can see a little blush of color, but they'll turn quite a bit more red. Oh, they're so good. The kids have been eating these like crazy already. So they're supposed to be a seedless. There are tiny little seeds in there. I haven't noticed that before. Maybe they kind of disappear a little bit more once they get a bit bigger. I don't know. And then our berry beds right here, we've got our blackberries, which we've got 3 varieties. There's Triple Crown right here, Black Satin, and Natchez. Look at the difference. Triple Crown, Black Satin, Natchez. So I deal with a lot more like sun scald on these berries right here because for obvious reasons, there's not as much foliar growth. The other ones are so protected by all the big branches that they stay beautiful. But these are looking great. These have been producing since, I don't know, early June. They've been going for it. These are just phenomenal. I recently picked these though, so I don't know how many we're gonna find unless I missed some. Oh yeah, there's some in here. Yeah. Those are beautiful. And then to the left of those, we have our Fall Gold raspberries, which are so good. These are better than the red raspberries to me. They have a higher sugar content, but they actually don't make as pretty a jam as the red ones, I don't think. I did try to make a batch of this jam last year, and I thought, oh, it's gonna be the most beautiful kind of amber gold color. No, it turned kind of gray. And I don't even want to say the word of what it kind of looked like. But it was a gloppy, gray, kind of hard time bringing myself to eat it. So these we just usually eat fresh, just straight off the plant. And they're looking so much better than they did last year. And then we've got our Heritage Everbearing Red Raspberry right in here. And if you get in here, you can see, you know, they're going for it. I've had some years where the berries have been just a little bit bigger than this year, but there's a lot of them and we shouldn't have any trouble getting plenty to make a batch of jam. And this year I mowed all of these down, all the canes. I didn't treat them as an everbearing type and anticipate getting a June crop. And I kind of go over the different ways of pruning an everbearing type raspberry in those videos and kind of the life cycle of a raspberry plant. But it makes it a lot easier just to go in and cut them all the way back. And that way you don't have to pick through and decide which canes will still produce for you in June the following year and all of that business. And it really does produce a nice crop later on in the season. We've been picking raspberries for several weeks at this point, for quite a lot of July. And then we'll pick all the way until hard frost. And honestly, that's enough of a harvest season for me with raspberries. So that's the berry area. We also have rhubarb and currants. We've got some currant plants right here, which aren't producing anything. I planted these this year. There's a red lake, I think, and a black consort. And then there's another red that one of you guys gave me. So they're just trying to establish themselves and get used to their spot. And then we've got our little hedge of rhubarb right here. And those were all transplants from our cut flower garden. Look at that. Gorgeous. This is a variety called Crimson Cherry. They tend to have a little bit more red, especially younger stalks are much more red. And the annuals in this area are so pretty. I planted purple fountain grass and the Super Tunia Vista bubblegum right here because I was unsure what we wanted to do with this pathway and how it would fit in with the pots that we put on the end of each one of these beds, which are looking beautiful as well. And I think we've got it figured out. I think what we'll do is pick up with the path right where it's at and kind of right where this natural pathway is, that's where it will be, because that way you can access all 3 beds. At first I thought, well, maybe we'll want to, curve the walkway back to the grass, but that just doesn't make sense. So I think we'll continue to plant up this area, not with annuals every year. I'll start working on some perennials, but boy, has it been beautiful. We've really enjoyed it. Okay, so let's head out to the Dirtlands before we pick raspberries to take a look out there. It actually might be more pleasant to start with the onions when it's cooler out. Those are quick fire fab hydrangeas back here in the corner, looking so pretty. Oh, I totally forgot the pole barn's almost done. I'll show you what it looks like. You kind of see it over there. I love the charcoal. It just kind of makes it disappear or helps it disappear a little bit more. I hope you guys don't mind the project days where I'm just kind of all over the place. Pinging back and forth. All right, guys, look at this thing. So we went with charcoal with a black roof so that it would kind of recede into the background. And of course, we've got, this oak tree will get massive and it will help block it. We've got a big blue Atlas cedar over there. Anyway, and I think we're going to plant another evergreen kind of out closer to the lane right here. So there'll be like a grouping of 3 things right here to kind of mask the side. But the fact that it's gray, and not white, because we thought initially, everything we have around the property is white. The flower shed, the mail house will be white, the white barn, the Hartley's a lot of white. Anyway, so we just thought, well, maybe we should do white, but I think that would have just shown up way too much back here. Show you around the back side here. This is not our trailer, so this will not be parked here. Check this out. Like, there's quite a lot of space behind it. That's why we thought, well, maybe we'll lift these and go plant them somewhere else, and then get something to put all the way down the center here so it has plenty of room to spread out. And that way it'll mask the back side of it for our neighbors, even though our neighbors are using this as their storage and they've got a little block of plants as well. I think it's going to work out perfectly. And then the inside, I think when we looked at this last time, were there sides on it? I don't think so. I think just the roof was. So you can see what it looks like here. And it's 20 feet deep and 80 feet wide, just for reference. And I think the sides, did we end up with 14 feet tall? I think maybe. We wanted it plenty tall enough to where, if we ever have some kind of a trailer or something like that we wanted to put in here, we could. Also, we thought about double stacking, kind of like pallet racking, some of this area possibly to store some things. We just wanted to have that ability in the future if we needed it. Anyway, I'm just thrilled with the whole thing. I love the size of these posts right here. Nice and big, everything looks substantial, and yeah, even happier that we'll have time to get everything under cover before winter. And then that thing that Paul just did on the top of the north garden, on top of the hill with the cleanup and the mulch, that's what we're gonna do right here. And all of this stuff, all of it will be organized. You won't see any of it. And looking out here into the Dirtlands, you wouldn't know I had a pumpkin patch unless I told you, because of the weeds. We can't get close enough to the plants to mow the weeds down. Otherwise we'd mow a bunch of runners. So we're just letting things just kind of take their natural form out here. It's very freeing. You can sort of see them though, from certain angles. There's our zinnias. Those show up big time. These are so easy to grow and require so little maintenance. I kind of just want to do like big rows of them, just for the fun, bright color. There's our artichokes. We'll stop to take a look since these are food crops. Look at these. Absolutely beautiful. Corn has been long done, long gone. I'm just leaving it up long enough to where I can get some bundles made for decorations. We've got some potatoes right here. These are the German butterballs. They're not ready to dig yet. Here are the sunflowers we seeded late. And then these potatoes could probably come out. It's the red Pontiacs. Maybe we'll do that today. And I think I'm gonna just pull the rest of the onions. Most of them are flopped. We've got some Walla Wallas here. Like this one right here. We wait until the stems have, softened and flopped over. But most of these, even if they're upright, I think they're just being held up by something because look at that. Pretty soft. And there's the Autumn Beauty sunflowers we planted. I didn't actually go in and reseed. I thought I was gonna have to, but they ended up all popping through. So anyway, this is gonna be our first project. We'll get our onions lifted. We'll go back and grab some crates and we'll get our red Pontiacs dug, which means I need to reorganize just a little bit. Onions are done. So we've got our Walla Walla pile right here. Some really nice big ones. And a lot of them are like medium-ish size. And then we've got our yellow sweet Spanish, which overall, these are the biggest ones we grew this year. Like if you were to take an average, I think these are the biggest. Okay, we're gonna go line these up in the high tunnel. We're gonna gather the ones that are sitting there drying and take those to the root cellar. And we're gonna grab some crates and a digging fork for our potatoes. Oh, a couple of late bloomers. Look at this. This is a sunflower called Lemonade. Isn't that wild? Oh, they're so pretty. All the rest of them have been done for a while and we've been leaving them up for the birds. Oh boy. Just notice this is a heritage oak. It looks like we're gonna have a bunch of acorns. Oh, look. Oh. Oh, they're so cute. We are gonna have to move this tree because it's too close to the horse paddocks, and acorns aren't good for horses. But we'll find a good spot for it. Maybe out in the north garden where it's far away from the paddocks, because I want to have these somewhere. They're so pretty. Strawberry Moon Chatalpa is blooming it up again. It's grown so much. Oh, Aaron has his lawnmower parked back here. Ideally, I could drive right up back here. Okay, let's see. It's been a while since I've started this. Huh, problem solved. Okay, so we've got a small batch of candies and Walla Wallas that I need to put in the root cellar. So we're gonna clear these off and put the new ones here to dry. All right, there's the Walla Wallas. And this whole table is full of yellow sweet Spanish. Look at all those. My word. They're gorgeous. If onions could be gorgeous, these would be gorgeous. And here's the basket we need to take to the root cellar. You know what, real quick, we need to get some crates for our potatoes, which the last one we only used 2 crates, so I think that's what I'm gonna grab. I think that's all we'll need. All right, we're back out here at the potatoes. Here comes Benjamin. I think Benjamin and Samantha both wanted to come out and help. We've got our crates. I've got my digging fork, which is what I use to dig them up. I've got my kneeling pad, and then I brought out a couple of kneeling pads and some gloves for the kids. You excited?
Yep. Did you get my gloves?
I got your gloves and a kneeling pad for you.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, these are called red Pontiacs, dude. Yep, and we usually wait until the plant, well, looks kind of like this. This still has some life in it, though. I mean, you can still see some green, but you know what, we're out here, let's just get it done. I don't think that the tubers would size up that much more if we left them out here. But check this out, Benjamin.
Oh, yeah.
You see those? They're like wanting to push up out of the ground. I don't blame them. It's such hard soil out here. Little baby.
Yeah. Here. Here's something.
What did you find?
2 baby buff eggs.
The buff eggs. Oh, they're so cute. Can you compare them to the other ones? The adult-sized chicken? Look at that. We're starting to get some babies, or some eggs rather, from the babies. That's really cool, bud. A blue kneeling pad and yellow gloves. She's not coming.
This isn't nice.
She was eating some crackers, weren't they? Wasn't she? You can wear those. Those are the right size for you, bud. All right, you guys, I'm gonna set you up close on this first one. I don't know what we're gonna find, but you can see all of those right there. I put our digging fork in. Oh my goodness. Oh, can we see that good enough? Look at the size of this potato. Benjamin, look.
Come on.
I know.
Don't dig them all up without me.
Oh, I won't, dude. This is just one plant. We've got lots of plants to dig. Okay, that looks like our first plant without doing much digging around it. Usually we find a few more when we start excavating a little bit, but check this out. My goodness. So Benjamin, we're gonna dig them and we're gonna just lay them in the basket.
Get my kneeling pad out.
Okay.
And I'm gonna start working.
Perfect.
That's a booty.
Bye, babe. Okay, potatoes have been dug, and here they are. We got quite a beautiful harvest from the red Pontiac plants. I was amazed. Definitely more than we got from the Huckleberry Golds that we harvested earlier, and there were a ton of big ones in this harvest. It's amazing. And I only ran into one potato. I don't know how I managed that. Usually I run into more than just one, so we're doing pretty good. And I had a really great helper. He's cooling off in front of the fan. You did amazing, Benjamin. Thank you. We're gonna go set these down in the red barn and get them covered up with burlap so they're not exposed to light, so they have a chance to cure and dry. And in about 10 to 14 days, we'll go and clean these like we cleaned the first ones and get them in the root cellar. So that's the next part of our project. And then we'll head out to the raspberries, which I think Samantha already did. Maybe we'll swing by there and see if she's still working on picking right now. Best part, we were able just to sling the plants right next to where we were working, and they'll all get mowed up. Okay, do we see Samantha over there? Nope. All right, there they are. So what I did, same thing as I did with the first batch. I've got an empty crate sitting on the ground, and then I put the crate full of potatoes on top of it so that there's good airflow even on the bottom. And then just cover the top and sides with burlap. This door right here is always closed, so they won't be getting light through this area. And then there's that door, which keeps it like bright-ish during the day, but there's no direct light on them. Plus with the burlap, they're covered. You just don't want them to expose to a lot of light because it'll turn the skin green. Is it solanine? Is that the right thing? I don't know. It's some kind of element in there that can turn poisonous if they're exposed to too much light. I don't know how much of it takes to actually affect a person, but I don't want to risk it. Okay, I dropped Benjamin at the house and he made me promise to come and get him when I was ready to pick raspberries. So I'm gonna go grab Benjamin and we're gonna get after the last part of our tour today. I really wasn't anticipating digging potatoes, so getting potatoes and all the onions done is awesome. And then we'll hope for the best with the raspberries, that we get enough. I usually like to pick more raspberries than what my recipe calls for, and I just use the bulk canning recipe for raspberry jam because I don't like it to have about half the amount of seeds that it normally would, so it takes more fruit because I strain out a lot of those seeds. What does it call for, like 5 cups of prepared fruit? So we'll want to pick quite a lot. We can always mix a few blackberries in if we need to. All right, here we are. I was hoping to get it done in the cool of the day, but Aaron and I decided to take the kids out for lunch. So anyway, it's afternoon now and it's warming up quite a lot, but we're just gonna see what we can do out here and pick what we can pick. And Benjamin's around here somewhere. Yeah, I see him going maybe behind the shed. Oh, you guys, the pollinator activity on the salvia is just unreal. It never picks up on camera, like if you're actually standing here, but they're just alive. These blooms are alive with bees. My goodness. And every single quadrant, I mean, you can imagine the sound out here. So there's not much to this project. We're just going to move through this row and see what we can get done. Here we go. You know what? I think I hit this at kind of a weird time. I'm almost done with one whole side of the row and I don't even have a full cup of berries. I kind of hit it right between 2 flushes of berries, I think. I'm finding a lot of like little dried up ones that I missed first go around, and then a lot of fruit that's forming up but not ripe yet. So I'm just gathering what I can, and I think we'll end up doing like maybe like a triple berry jam. Is that a thing? You can do like a few strawberries, some red raspberries, and some blackberries. I mean, can you go wrong with that? I don't think so. Smashed a raspberry right onto the front of my pants. Dang it. Okay, well, we didn't get as many raspberries as I thought we would, but we got plenty of berries, mixed varieties, to make a batch of jam, which I'm excited for. I've never made a mixed berry jam, so it should be interesting. And isn't that pretty? We've got raspberries, blackberries, and strawberries, plus a few fall golds that Benjamin threw in there. And I did mention while we were out there that I think I hit the raspberries right in an in-between stage. There were a lot of really tiny, kind of like shriveled up old red raspberries that I must have missed, and then a lot of blossoms and fruit just starting to form. There weren't as many right in that peak stage of ripeness, so we'll be back out there, and we've been harvesting them here right along. I don't know how I missed the ones that are all shriveled up though, and the ones that are forming up look nice. And that's typical. Usually toward the end of summer, beginning of fall, that's when we get the best berries. So I'm just gonna take these in and make some jam. And I won't walk you through step by step the process of making jam. I just follow either the Ball recipe or the recipe that comes on that little piece of paper inside the pectin box when you get those. And that usually makes really good jam. But I'll catch little snippets for you so you can see what it looks like in process and then what it looks like in the end. But that's gonna be it for our projects for today because it's heating up. I'm really thrilled that we were able to run around and take a look at all of our produce and how it's going, and also get some things done. All the onions are up. That makes me feel really good. I knew that they were all really close. And then having one more variety of potatoes dug is awesome. So we just have one more variety left, and then we're just going to be working on harvest on these other things, all the fruit. It all comes kind of fast and furious this time of year. So it's kind of an everyday thing. We go out and pick, whatever is ripe that day, or I try to every day, so we don't miss it. Clearly missed the raspberries, or at least one kind of phase of them. But anyway, thank you so much for watching the video today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoy the little snippets of the raspberry mixed berry jam. See you guys in the next one. Bye.